Welcome by the first episode of Altcoin Sunday. I'm going to do this episode every week in which we are discussing the altcoins that I'm currently looking at. You have to notice that this is not financial advice, it's just the coins that I'm looking at. It's not a Celer show, it's just a show in which I'm going to explain where I'll be a buyer on certain coins and why you should not FOMO on different coins, as we have seen some great movements on altcoins and that's wonderful, but you should realize that there's also people new to the markets who have no clue what they are doing and they'll FOMO buy everything that's on Twitter. So in this show, weekly episodes, we're going to discuss about 6 to 8 altcoins. If they move, I'll discuss them the next week again, and hopefully make this a weekly video in which we just continue to discuss the altcoins that are interesting. So first, altcoins. Bitcoin volatility is draining down after the halving hype, as altcoins have seen some interest in the past week. We've been saying that in the other videos as well. Altcoins usually have their best behavior when Bitcoin remains calm, and what we see right now is that Bitcoin volatility is slowly draining down. Bitcoin is acting inside a range. No real FOMO on that, as the halving hype is just slowly draining away, which meant that altcoins have been seeing some immense breakouts. Theta has been doing wonderful. The IOs have been doing great. Data Fuel has been showing some 2017 numbers today. So the focus is slowly shifting towards altcoins, and altcoins should outperform Bitcoin in the coming cycle. Why? Altcoins are basically startups, are new. Bitcoin is the first runner. It's already there for 10 years, which means that Bitcoin is the asset with the lowest risk aside from stablecoins. And that one will generate the lowest return. If you want to have a higher return in the coming cycle, you should be focused on altcoins. However, you should realize that altcoins have an increased risk, as there are so many and they are just basically startups. So a proper risk management is wise if you want to trade altcoins, as they are highly volatile and highly risky. If Bitcoin goes down a little, altcoins usually go nosediving. If Bitcoin goes up, altcoins usually go nosediving in BTC pair as well. So use a proper risk management. Don't expect your altcoin to go to the moon and stay there. BTC values usually come back down towards their levels they are right now at some point. So trading them to accumulate more Bitcoin is still the way to go. If you want to trade altcoins and you are trading them and you have a different investment portfolio, you should understand that your approach is different, as trading is there just to increase your long-term portfolio. Investment is usually a horizon of 1 year to 5 or even maybe longer years if you are in equity markets. So that's a completely different strategy, and in this video, this weekly episode, we will be discussing trading. Today we are going to discuss the following coins, which are Celer, Siacoin, Perlin, Harmony, Chainlink, Cardano, DOC, and Zilliqa. And some side notes on these coins are that the basics are coming from the technical point of view, so the TA. But given that the markets and projects are getting some more upgrades going and they are producing and they're releasing their upgrades, given that the sentiment is switching and the fundamentals are getting better and better, the concept of the fundamental part is also one of the issues that I'm going to discuss more in the coming episodes, given that releases are getting a more important part in movements recently. So you could get more scenarios of buy the news and sell the rumor, and that's the type of stuff. For Celer and One, staking is initiated. Other projects in this list will also get to staking, which means that there is less sell pressure. However, there's an increased buy pressure to take these nodes, which means that it's a lockup and a lower supply on the market. Elrond has been showing that as well. This episode will mainly be about TA, and The TA factors that are there are the ones that many of these coins are finally breaking above the 100 and 200 MA on the daily, which is a crucial factor for bull bear markets. Alongside with that, some of the coins are breaking above the range. For instance, Zilliqa is doing that, while other ones are showing a reclaim of support levels and just a spring, which means that they are lagging behind. If you want to trade altcoins, always combine the BTC and the USDT chart if there is an opportunity to do so. Some altcoins don't have a USD or USDT pair, and then you should focus only on the BTC chart. So let's go towards the charts, in which we can see that the first one we are going to discuss is Celer. Celer is lagging behind of Elrond, as Elrond has been showing a similar chart in which we break below the range low. We reclaimed the range low, started to grind upwards and popped above the next resistance level, in which we have defined a new range over here. Celer is actually showing a similar structure in which the volume is increasing, in which we break the 200 MA right now, 100 MA, sorry, and we are facing the next one, which is the 200 MA. I'm expecting that we're going to see a continuation in which we hold the 100 MA as support and just grind upwards. The first target area is around 38 Satoshis, breaking above that level, and I'm assuming we're going to rally towards 51. Is there an entry point? I guess your entry point is gone already, as we have seen the flip of this area over here. If you want to look for a potential entry on Celer, I'll be suspecting that you should watch the USDT pair. However, if you want to get an entry, it's about 28 to 29 Satoshis. I don't really want to see a break below that level. If we break below that level, the last hurdle is the gray zone over here. But it's a sign of weakness if we break below, and then I'll just be watching whether we can hold gray. Celer USDT held the gray zone, and we have been tweeting a little bit. This here was the area to hold. Currently you can see that we are ranging. We have tapped the resistance again. As we have been tapping this resistance for 2 times now, I expect the next breaker to be the real breakout to the upside. If we break to the upside, I'm targeting 004. But as Elrond has been showing, February high is not a really strange level to watch. So if we get some serious momentum going, as you can see over here on Elrond, I suspect that if we break above this level, we reclaim the high, probably get a test of the 004 level, retest a lower level around 0035, and then move towards the range high around a half cent. Which is confluent with 51 Satoshis. So if you look for an entry on Celer, I'll be looking for a flip over here with target of this zone. So I suspect that this one is going to follow Elrond, which is also what I'm expecting to see on Harmony, which is also lagging behind, also released staking and more. Also has market makers called CZ Binance. As long as we remain above green over here, I'm expecting a retest of the previous resistance level, and I'm expecting a continuation towards the high over here, which is the February high. And if we get the February high, we have got eine range. So if you want to look for an entry on Harmony, this is the zone you want to look for. Currently rejected in the at the block over here. A flip in the gray zone in this area around 003, and we can expect continuation towards the highs. Harmony showing a similar structure as Elrond and Celer. Broke back above the range support. Currently trying to break the 100 MA. And next target is 200 MA, which is around 54 Satoshis. So we're just going to hop over here. Preferably you want to see this area hold, as I've been pointing out here, and I can expect that it's quite blurry. You want to see this area around 35 Satoshis hold. If it holds, we should be breaking above 40. The next test above 40, and I'm expecting this one to be the breaker towards 53 Satoshis. Then the final IEO we are going to discuss, which is Perlin. Pretty similar structure. We have been hovering around support for a long while, just like we have been doing at the end of 2019. A reclaim of the support usually triggers a continuation to the upside of the range. So if we get a breaker and support flip of the 175 Satoshis level, I'm going to target 220, and the next level I'm targeting is 260 to 280, which means that the IOs are going to do pretty fine usually. Perlin Tether USDT lagging behind heavily, but you can see that the volume is way higher as before, which means that there's accumulation going. Currently tapping against resistance. If we break above resistance after this flip, if we break the resistance around 1.5 cents, I'm assuming we're going to see continuation towards 2 cents and probably even towards the range high around 2.5 cents. Then some of the other coins. We have been discussing Zilliqa quite a lot lately. This is one of the coins that has been breaking above the 100 MA and 200 day MA and has been holding. Tested the range high. As you can see, we have been hovering around this range for about a year, and now we have flipped it for support and consolidating. Consolidation is not bad as long as it remains above the range high. The entry is pretty much gone, but if you want to get an entry going, I'd be looking at around 100 Satoshis, maybe a wick towards 97. If we get a continuation through a bull flag structure, I'm assuming we're going to see a continuation in this move towards the next target. Oh, I'm getting the wrong one. And in that regard, you can expect 150 Satoshis to be the next level of target, which is also an horizontal level. And just buy the dip season as long as it remains above the 100 and 200 MA. Zilliqa USDT, similar structure. Gray has to hold. We have been discussing that as long as Gray holds, preferably even above 0.08, I suspect continuation. And then the next target zone is between 1.4 and 1.6 cents. Then some of the other altcoins. We have got some small ones in which you can see that DOC broke a nice downtrend. It broke above the downtrend and currently is also facing the MAs. Preferably I'd want to see a retest of 75 as support. But if we continue rallying towards the 200 MA around 85 sets and flip the 100 MA for support, that's also fine. Breaker above the 200 MA, and I expect continuation to occur towards the range high, which is as first 120 Satoshis. So some altcoins have been showing some strength already in which the entry is gone. But if we get a retrace, maybe due to Bitcoin retracing a little, you want to buy the dip on these altcoins. For DOC, I don't have a USDT pair. SC, BTC, I've been saying that once Digibyte moves, a Siacoin usually follows. And you can see it turned a little bit dead. But we have been showing that the range low was tested here for support, confirmed. After that, a higher low and preferably another higher low. Alongside with that, we can see that we have made a higher high here. So what you want to see inside this compression is a breaker to the upside and a higher high over here, in which the next target zone is around 50 Satoshis. Confluent with that, higher volume, and there's a break of the 100 day and 200 day MA. You want to see this hold. As long as this holds, I'm expecting a test of the 37 level again. And as discussed in this structure, you want to see a higher high occurring, in which you target the 50 Satoshis level as the next target. Then we have some big coins finally. And Link is one of the ones that has been showing some massive strength recently. And actually in the whole 2019 and 2020, it's just one of the best performing coins. Heavy retrace due to the Bitcoin halving, as we know. After that, we have made a nice rally to the upside. We have figured this scenario. Currently we are holding. Preferably I want to see it hold above here. If it does hold above here, I'm assuming we are going to see a continuation of the test over here at 46,500 Satoshis. If we do break, I'm expecting a liquidity tap above the high, which could then also mean that we're going to see a continuation of Chainlink towards the upside, in which we are going to break through the highs or at least test the highs. What's important for Link is that we can see that we've held 340 over here, right now I want to see this area hold over here, which is 370 to 385. Out of all the positions, I have to say that Link is the only one that I'm less secure about, as Bitcoin is also showing some signs of weakness. And if Link breaks out of this rising wedge to the downside, in which you can get a structure like this, I'm assuming we're going to drop some further down. So it's a tricky one in which you want to see this level hold. If we break below and you see some bearish retests, you should be aware that there could be some more downwards momentum going. Then finally, Cardano currently has seen some nice moves, but as Bitcoin has been showing some weakness over the weekend, we could see a retrace, and we have been pointing this scenario as potential opportunities to buy. For Cardano, if we get towards the 100-day and 200-day MA over here, this is an entry zone. If you don't get that entry going, I'll be looking for a rally towards this level, then a retrace, and then another opportunity. Breaker above the range high is comparable to the break above for Zilliqa, in which you could expect that the next rally is towards 1100 Satoshis. Cardano USDT, similar figure as on Link, signs of little weakness, in which there's a rising wedge structure over here and potential bearish divergence. If we can't hold 5.1 cents, I'm assuming we are going to test the level over here, in which 4.3 to 4.5 is the entry that I want to get. If we get there, so in the scenario that we break below and we get there, I'm going to expect a move towards the range high. If we hold this level and we continue to rally, you want to see a retest here for a potential opportunity. So that's the first episode of Altcoins Sunday. Next episode is obviously next Sunday. If you like this video, please subscribe, reply, do thumbs up, and enjoy your Sunday. See you next week. Thank you.